Hello everyone, are you ready for another anime recap? Then subscribe right now to this Anime Plots YouTube channel and watch this full video. Did you subscribe? Okay, let's start the video.
The staff at Jiro's high school announces news of the upcoming marriage practical. As the name implies, it's basically a live practical where all students are bound in pairs and get to live together as couples for quite a few months. While the students are beyond excited in the thought of living together as couples, the next announcement ends up pouring cold water over their expectations. Turns out, despite posing as couples, each member gets a separate room in order to restrain them from taking things too far. Makes sense, since they are after all mere high school students participating in the marriage practical for academic purposes only, and not a true couple anyway. Anyhow, the introverted Jiro dearly hopes to get paired with Shiori. As for Akari, the outgoing girl has fallen head over heels for the hot dude Minami, and could wish for nothing more than his company. Unfortunately, things don't go as planned and poor Akari ends up thrown together with Jiro, who's an introverted freak as far as she's concerned. Meanwhile, Jiro himself isn't too happy either, since Akari is the polar opposite of the pure and innocent Shiori, who's more like his type. What's even funnier is how Jiro's shy and reserved Shiori ended up getting tangled up with none other than Minami, aka Prince Charming. Both cheer up pretty soon though, after Akari coughs out a plan to end up with their desired partners. Turns out each couple's being monitored by a camera is installed at various angles across their living quarters. That said, the students are all being scored according to their various performances in the marriage practical. As for the couples who land in the top 10 of the monthly evaluation chart, they win themselves a chance to exchange partners with other top 10 couples. The only condition is the willingness of all parties involved, of course. With the goal to end up as Minami's spouse in mind, Akari experiences an upsurge of motivation and instantly starts showering Jiro with tons of affection. After all, can't possibly keep her distance from her present partner unless she intends to give up on Minami forever. The stimulus is too much for the social outcast to handle. Kari starts compelling him to give her a goodbye kiss before heading out together with his buddy Sadaharu. Such an act is bound to skyrocket their points in a matter of seconds. Despite realizing the truth of Akari's words, Jiro still can't help feeling pressured and way out of his league in this weird situation. In the end, the panicked dude lands a kiss on her lips instead of the cheeks before vanishing into thin air. Meanwhile, Akari is left exasperated thanks to having her first kiss stolen just like that. Poor girl has no one to blame but herself either. Later, that evening, Akari accompanies her crush Minami for a fun karaoke session at the nearby club. In the meantime, the gloomy Jiro stays back at school alone, waiting for the wretched rain to let up, so he may return back home. Just then, Shiori pops out of the blue and comes over to greeting. Jiro's childhood appears regretful since he seemed to be growing ever distant towards her, ever since the marriage practical began. The two are just about to intimately share an umbrella to get back home together when Minami makes an abrupt entrance to cut the fun short. With this happiness ruined, the dejected Jiro is left to stroll back home with his moody wife Akari instead. At night time, the idea to binge-watch horror movies together pops into Akari's mind. Apparently doing so often results in crazy upsurges and marital practical scores according to reviews from fellow students. What's more, she even presents Jiro with the matching nightwear she bought for both of them. Then to give her poor hubby a heart attack, Akari starts changing into her sleepwear then and there. Sadly for her, an unexpected blackout occurs just then, thanks to the raging thunder. Jiro reacts swiftly by switching on his cell phone's light, but is flabbergasted to see the tearful Akari clinging to him in a rather adorable manner. As for Akari herself, the usually bold and audacious girl starts feeling vulnerable after being seen in such a condition and starts fussing as a result. The spoilsport dude manages to kill the romantic vibes pretty soon though, by reciting some haunted well story and leaving poor Akari scared witless. On the following day, both Jiro and Akari go ecstatic after taking a peek at the monthly evaluation chart and seeing themselves among the top 10. But a bucket of freezing cold water is poured upon themselves soon enough though, as the Shiori and Minami couple failed to make it in the top 10 for reasons unknown. Not just that, the couple's ranking has devolved all the way down to rank E, which is pitiful indeed. Both Akari and Jiro start feeling down as a result, since after all there's no point in playing the perfect couple part in case the other two fail to make it to the top 10 and then switch partners willingly. In the upcoming days, Akari starts feeling unsure about her feelings towards her supposed husband Jiro. As for Jiro himself, the miserable dude is down for the count at present thanks to a high temperature etc. He's given a pleasant surprise after Shiori comes to visit and even starts taking such good care of him despite being sick and all. Then, once he's asleep, we witness a naughty side to Shiori, as she almost kisses him in his sleep. In the end though, her shyness still gets the better of her, and so she stops dead on her tracks. Afterwards, Akari's mood dampens after seeing Jiro chirping like a cheerful bird thanks to having enjoyed Shiro's company long enough. For some reason, Jiro being close to any girl annoys Akari in no end. At the breakfast table, she questions Jiro as to what really makes a man happier. Plain dude Jiro guesses it to be a scrumptious homemade lunch. Ever since then it's been all cooking mania for Akari, who can't help but fantasize about Minami enjoying her delicious handmade desserts while out on a picnic. All the while, their points continue to skyrocket since making lunch together as a kind of cliché thing to do for couples after all. Back at school, Jiro's buddy Sadaharu is being jealous, after imagining all the erotic and lit acts Jiro must be pulling off together with Akari. After all, landing scores as high as them on the evaluation chart is no easy feat. What invokes his envy even further is the scrumptious lunch made by Akari for her husband. On the day of the picnic with Minami though, Akari gets discouraged after a surprise visit by Shiori. Turns out Minami's got a sweet tooth, when after all this time Akari assumed him to prefer sugar in moderate amounts and prepared accordingly as a result. Feeling dejected, thanks to her lack of knowledge, Akari questions Jiro about what there is to like about her. Tough question there, especially for our antisocial gaming nerd protagonist. The guy literally starts blabbering about her being hot and sexy, someone who's the object of each man's desire, etc. etc. In the end, the more he speaks the more trouble he lands himself in and the deeper the pit he ends up digging for himself. Unexpectedly, Akari doesn't get Jiro in the stomach for being so presumptuous. Instead she gets turned on and climbs on top of Jiro all of a sudden. Heck, the reckless girl even offers to help him graduate from his status as a miserable high school virgin. Can't say that Jiro isn't the least bit tempted by her offer. In fact, the guy is almost on the verge of committing the unthinkable but stops in his tracks quite early. Turns out, the idea of taking something precious away from Akari in the moments he doesn't appeal much to him. However, the disappointed Akari then calls off the couple act in her rage and becomes distant from Jiro from henceforwards. This results in their rankings dropping all the way down to rank E, similar to the situation Shiori and Minami were in a month ago. On the flip side, the Shiori-Minami couple is doing great thanks to the thumbs-ups you already received from Jiro not long ago. The childhood friend of Jiro is perplexed after taking a peek at his current pitiful ratings. As a result, Jiro ends up having a consultation session with the mild-tempered Shiori, who's willing to aid Jiro patch up with Akari despite being smitten by him herself. In the end, Jiro finally decides to face Akari head-on as a result of the confidence gained from his chat with Shiori. The guy admits about having ruined things previously thanks to not expressing himself clearly enough. Once again though, he starts babbling non-stop about having dreamed of doing wild and lewd things together with her all the time. That said, he only pulled his brakes previously so as to avoid Akari making rash decisions and losing something precious on the spur of the moment. In the end, he requests to continue with the couple act in a way that makes it sound quite similar to an everyday proposal in real life. Lucky for him, Akari cheerfully agrees and admits to having to come to like Jiro quite a bit since they first got lumped together. Now that there's been a patch-up, there's definitely hope for them to ascend the rankings despite having to start from scratch again.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.